As I understand it, there are many economic ideas, but it's very difficult to put them into one puzzle. But when you turn to source, then you see the whole picture of the world. People don't know this, but they need to know. Let's start with capitalism. The most important thing that I learned is spending money on capital is called investment. Very interesting. And I found out who a capitalist is. For example, I'm not a capitalist. In short, I really like the idea of the Socrates who thought that. Eventually, a book by Adam Smith came out, and the example of the nails really interested me. In general, I learned to teamwork is very important in the economy, and it's very important to find out who in this team works a lot. As an example, bakery. If we move on the second chapter of the book, I agree that the revolution in the industry is steam power. And very interesting examples about the socialism and democracy and even slavery in the USA. This is a story that influenced the economy. Marx against capital. And of course, at the end of the reform, neoclassical economics was born. One of the interesting chapters is the money power. A very good idea was the railroad in America. Of course, large plants can produce a railway still, but they need to build it. Then came the most interesting product, fuel, oil. This is how rich people appeared, including barons. They thought it was the golden age. In general, everything was perfect, and the farms were also down on the farm. This is how Wall Street and Main Street gradually emerged, and already people began to think big and global. It's called global economy. And of course, things fall apart. The 20th century was very difficult after people created weapons. Economics in war, this is also one instrument. The Soviet state and the revolution had a special role, and after the victory of Stalin, the whole world admired communism. In short, everything began to change, and the rules of business are also changing. After all, it's time for the Great Depression, and everything seemed to collapse and the world was upset. But time passed to the fact that the Second World War began. It was already Nazism. Well, of course, someone made money in this war. And after the war, the economy kicked off new ideas. The World Bank made loans for reconstructions. This is how the dollar was created as an international currency, and other countries' currency were exchangeable for dollars at fixed rates. But it all led to the Cold War. It was a war on the economy, you can even say so. And that time there was a lot of propaganda, and era of limits has come, where advertising was one of the best tools. Of course, there are a lot of monopolies, and all this gradually turned into numbers. That was management by numbers, and of course the rich didn't like it, and the moment began for the revolt of the rich, when rich people wanted to push their interests on their own, and they began to invest in television, newspapers, publications, and so capture the entire press. Finally, the end of the Cold War. Perestroika has begun. This is how the Berlin Wall came down, and new innovated period has come with the internet. It's called as the new economy. Let's take a look at what's going on in the world right now.